Good morning, everyone. And I use the phrase "good morning" loosely because, as we all know, I'm not a morning person. I look a hot mess right now, and I'm having my coffee in my Let Love Flow, Even Flow Feeding coffee mug.
Oh, I forgot mine. I forgot to get mine. I have one, but I do have my coffee too.
The coffee is very important. It's very important, especially for a 10 a.m. Q&A about breastfeeding and pumping. So, for those of you who are new here, whatever, you all know what I do. But Sherry Creaso, who I get to stare at when we do this, I know.
I'm sorry, Jamie.
No, it's good. You always look put together. I am a disaster. So I've known Sherry for years and years and years now. This is our third year of doing these Q&As with Even Flow, and it's awesome. So for those of you who don't know Sherry, I will let her give a little intro about herself while I caffeinate and try to pull my life together.
Well, hi everyone. So good to see you. It's actually, this is good timing for me. It's noon here on the East Coast, and that's better than 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I feel kind of awake. And I may look put together, but I do only do that from the waist up.
Listen, I'm just happy I decided to wear pants. I was like, I could just do this in like a shirt and my underwear and no one would know. But I was like, you never know. You never know what can happen.
You know what? Then I'd be like, Jamie, go get that thing in the corner over there.
And I'd be like, let me tilt this computer up a little bit.
Yeah, right? Oh my God.
Oh man.
So anyway, for those of you guys who don't know me, I'm here to talk about breastfeeding and pumping with Jamie. We've been doing this for a really long time, 3 years on this platform, 7 years altogether, 8 years that we've known each other and that we've been doing education online for new parents. I've been working with new parents for over 25 years now as a labor and delivery RN, as a certified nurse midwife. I delivered over 600 babies in my practice, and then I'm also an IBCLC, and I do my own stuff, classes online, and I work with Even Flow Feeding. It's the reason that we do this live chat is I help them to design their advanced double electric breast pump. And I see Even Flow in the house with us today. Hi, ladies. We love you. We love you.
I'm not watching.
I see them. I see Elise, and I know the whole team is there right now. So, and they're amazing. And I've been working with them for many years, and they're just a great group. And I love that I could help to create the pump so that it has everything that we look for, that I would recommend to my patients. And we get such great responses from moms. And it also includes both of my breastfeeding classes, which is fantastic. So you get my Simply Breastfeeding and my breast pumps and briefcases when you purchase the pump, or you get it through your insurance. And that way you get the education as well as a great product. So,
and that's what I love about the pump, and kind of what we've been doing with Even Flow is it's not just like, here's this breast pump, blah, 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 blah. It's the education component to it.
It's always about that. Even the breast pump features, there's reasons for them all, which will go.
And I've had side note, because it's morning and I ramble. It's like I've had brands that see how we work together and stuff, and they want to do kind of what we do with like stroller companies or whatever. They want to do what we do together with Even Flow and whatever. And I'm like, you can't do like an educational Q&A every month about strollers. There's no way to do that. There's no education component. There's like, this is how the stroller works, blah, 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 blah. But as we know, it is month after month after month of these same questions coming up. And so we know that the education and the reinforcement for mothers is just not there. So that's what I love about doing this is like question, answer, food, information consistently. So
absolutely. And you know what I love too is that these Q&As have helped me to understand what everybody needs. You know, by listening to the questions that keep getting repeated over and over again, I get to understand what is it that you maybe, what other education do you need to hear? What do I need to do a show about? What do I need to be answering? And Jamie, we do this all the time. Like right before, we'll go through and I'll say, these are some topics that we need to actually bring up and talk about. It's all driven from you guys. You know, you're posting things. We know that you're struggling with certain questions or issues or misunderstandings that need to be brought up. And it drives my videos, my short videos, or it drives our conversation.
Yeah. Speaking of questions.
Wait, I want to show you something first.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I wanted to show everybody. Can you see the snow? Oh,
the light doesn't work. There we go.
I'm buried. So I just wanted to show you how beautiful it is and understand why I'm sitting here in this parka inside because I'm so cold.
It's 70 degrees in Denver, I think, right now, and we have no snow at all.
It's not here. It's just not.
I would love a good blizzard. We're not getting it. So everybody, make sure you're hearting this video. Make sure you heart it. Make sure you comment. We're also giving a pump away. The link to that giveaway is in the actual caption. And we have a lot of questions today. So we're going to start here. We have Rachel, and Rachel has a question. My one breast is significantly smaller than my other, with a much smaller supply as well. The only thing I can come up with is I started nursing on the larger side all night long when I started co-sleeping so that he is in the middle of the bed. I nurse on both during the day so that he gets enough and try to always start on the smaller side, but he doesn't get enough, so I have to go to the larger side as well. How do I get my supply back up on the smaller side?
Yeah, so two things I think are happening. One is that, more nursing on one side. And if you're favoring one side, like you said, you're sleeping on one side during the night, the baby's next to you and nursing all night long on that breast, you will start to produce more on one side because your breasts do work independently. So, they will stimulate independently. And so from supply and demand, if you're nursing a lot on one more than the other, you will see that imbalance. But at the same time, breasts are not equal ever. So it may be that one larger breast or the one that's really producing happens to be your producer, happens to be your more dominant breast or however you want to put it, but it actually makes more anyway. If that's the case, then there may not be any way to equal out the breast milk, but you can try by nursing more on the less producing side. What I would suggest is, you're comfortable the way you're sleeping. That's not going to change, but continue to nurse the baby on the less producing side first at each feeding during the day. Try that for a few days and see if that drains the breast more. If you're feeding on your larger or more productive side first and finishing on the other side, then you're never really getting all the milk out of the less producing side. And it's okay. I mean, most moms are this way. I had that with my kids too. And what I would always describe is that one side is like the meal and the other side is like the appetizer or the dessert. You can eat a meal without an appetizer or a dessert, right? But you can't just have dessert and you can't just have an appetizer. You need to have the meal. So
you can just have an appetizer and dessert.
Well, I guess there are certain times a day you could just have the appetizer or dessert, and that could be like a snack. So maybe it's just a little snack and the baby eats on the side that is less producing, and that's fine for the baby. But if you're really going to do a meal, you need to at least have the meal as well, the main meal. And so that's how I would approach it.
Very good. Very good. I'm very proud of myself too, because every time this question comes up, I'm always like, you know, women, you know, you'll have a preference side when will be the producer, when will be larger. It's the same with guys, but downstairs. And I actually just brought it up, so I defeated that purpose. I was like, I didn't bring it up today, but in fact I did. We talk about breast and we talk about balls. There we go.
We need some equal time here, you know.
Equal time. So Doreen has a question.
Yeah.
What constitutes a hospital grade pump? Is even flow hospital grade?
Okay. Oh, this is a really good question. So you will hear these terms, and not just hospital grade, but hospital strength, open systems, closed systems, all these different terms when it comes to breast pumps. And what I want to say about that is these are industry terms that are used mostly for marketing. You know, when we look at like what constitutes a hospital grade or a hospital strength, it's not something that, you know, is FDA regulated, or that it's not a real term that it's used to distinguish. It's been something that's kind of passed down over the years through different marketing ways to describe things. So I would say that if you really look at the way what is meant by hospital grade, what they're referring to is multi-user. That means the rental pumps that you would see, like the big rental pumps that you would rent from a hospital or a lactation consultant or a lactation center. Those are multi-user pumps intended to be used by multiple people with clean hygienic kits attached to it. So the kit itself, that means the part and all the tubing and everything, that would be your own. But the pump can be used from one person to another. That's the industry term for hospital grade, okay? When it comes to hospital strength and all these other things, there's no real definition. So the question that you're asking is even flow hospital grade. If you're going to use it based on what we typically refer to as hospital grade, which is a rental pump or multi-user pump, it is not a multi-user pump. It is intended for single person, one person to use. If you're asking, is it strong? Does it work? Does it get the milk out? Does it give you customization? Does it give you all the different settings so you can stimulate and empty the breast as much as possible? Then the answer is 100% yes, and sometimes even way better than the multi-user pumps. So this is where it can get really interesting when we think that a term refers to the effectiveness of the pump versus who can use it. You know, can two people use it? Can I borrow these? Same thing goes for open and closed systems, you know, and we talk a lot about open and closed systems as well. And you know, when we think of an open system, it's also used as, well, if it's a closed system, then that must mean that it can be used for multi-user. And I've seen pumps that are not closed systems, okay, marketed as closed systems because the pump itself is closed, but the tubing and everything else leading up to that is open. So again, you have to really understand, what are they saying is closed? So when we look at, like, for example, the even flow feeding pump, when we refer to this as a closed system, what that means is that there is an actual barrier right here at the point of the milk that prevents milk from getting inside your tubing. To me, that's a closed system. Okay, so that when you click that on, you never see milk. There is no condensation. That condensation is milk. Okay, there's no water. There's nothing, and you're not washing these tubes, which then also can get water in it. You don't want anything inside the tubing because that can grow mold. All right, this little barrier will prevent that from happening, and it's quite effective. Okay, that is a true closed system. If the pump is open here where there's milk can get into the tube, but it's a rental pump or a pump that has a barrier to get into the pump, the milk can't get in the pump itself, that's not, to me, a closed system. That's a multi-user pump.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because there are two stories I need to talk about. one of these, it's the marketing terminology within breast pumps and like open, closed, hospital grade, whatever, is very similar to how side impact testing in car seats here. We don't have a standard for side impact in America. So companies can do all the side impact testing they want, and they can call it whatever they want, but we actually have no standard for it. So it's very similar. And what is also very interesting to me, a few years back, I was made aware, and I won't talk about what pump it is, but a rental pump. And I worked at a birth education center where we rented these same pumps out. And so we had to sterilize them, clean them, whatever. But I was made aware of the fact that there were serious issues with actual roach infestations.
Yes.
Because there's no screen. There's a hole in the pump to help with airflow and everything, but there's no screen. So actual roaches are drawn to these sugars in this milk, and there would be infestations in these pumps, and you would have to be trained on how to clean the roaches out. I never was trained on how to clean roaches out of a breast pump. I hope no one ever has to clean roaches.
I'm getting all like itchy now.
But it's a big problem that people don't address.
No, I have had, I mean, when I also had a learning center in a retail store for over 10 years, and we sold pumps and we rented pumps. And so some of the pumps you're talking about, we would have parts that moms would come in for extra parts, and they would bring their pumps in and say, why does the pump smell, or why is it not working? And I would take the caps off of them, and I've seen ones with bugs inside of it. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, bugs, mold. You have to be very, very careful with any of these things, and understand what it is that's happening. If you're getting milk into your tubing, I don't care what the package says, it isn't not fully closed.
Isn't this a great conversation for a
First thing in the morning.
Oh man, cockroaches and phalanges. Yeah, it's gross. So
way to start your day.
Moving on, Cindy has a question. My son, I want to have my coffee in my hands and do a little lean in. My son will be 14 months when our third child will be born. I want to continue nursing him till 2 years. How to tandem nurse? How to prepare for it and increase milk supply so that I have enough for both babies. Thanks.
Awesome. Did she say she's pregnant now?
Yes.
She's pregnant now, and her son is 14 months old.
He will be 14 months when child 3 makes.
Oh, okay, good. Good. Well, first of all, good for you, Cindy, for tandem nursing, for continuing on. Your 14-month-old still needs breast milk, and so I think it's awesome that you're going to tandem nurse the babies, and it's so doable. There's always a lot of questions about whether, first of all, is it safe to nurse your older child while you're pregnant? And the answer is yes. In most cases, yeah, it is completely normal and safe to continue breastfeeding. A few things that you might notice during the pregnancy is that, your nipples are more sensitive and they can be really sore, which can sometimes cause a problem. Sometimes not. For some moms, it's not. And sometimes you could see a little bit of a decrease in your milk supply, especially around the second trimester, and then it kind of comes back again. But if your child's eating solid foods during that time, it's okay. Just let them continue to nurse, and there should be still enough. There should still be enough. I would say that there's nothing to really prepare for. You're doing fine. Your body knows what to do. So the colostrum's going to be there for your newborn. Everything's going to happen the way that it needs to take care of the new baby, and also make enough for the older child as well. So your body's very, very smart that way. The only thing I would consider is that when the baby's first born, let the newborn take the lead. Let the newborn eat first, at the feeding, so that the newborn's getting what the newborn needs. And sometimes it can even really help, because especially during that time when you're more engorged, the older child can really help relieve some of that engorgement. So The answer is there's really not much to do, except I guess go online and read about tandem nursing and learn about different tips for moms who are doing it, understand the normalcy of it and that how real normal this is in so many different cultures all over the world. It's not even a thought to not do this. And it actually helps babies and keeps them healthy. The older child still needs that and is receiving all the antibodies and all the immunity and protection that continues for no matter how long you nurse. It's not just nutrition. It's more than that. And so I encourage you to continue and then just learn more so you can feel how normal and great it is that what you're doing. That's all.
Very sensible. Very sensible. Jayana says, my little one is 4 months old. I have tried the hospital pump and a pump and cell advance, which is what I got through insurance. She will not take the breast, so I'm trying to just pump, but my milk supply has dropped. I am trying to bring it back up to at least where I was to begin with. I am lucky to get 3 ounces in a day. I am desperate and don't want to give up. Should I try a different pump or will that not matter at this point? Is it too late? Thank you.
How old is her baby? Did she say?
4 months.
So first of all, it is not too late. It is definitely not too late. Once, your milk supply can drop and then it can also come back again. If you're still lactating, even if you've stopped lactating, you can re-lactate again. But especially if you're making any amount of milk, it is possible to build that supply back up. But what will it take to build that up is the question. Moms tend to think of like all different supplements and things that they need to take, and that can help. But the number one thing is emptying the breast. If your pump is not emptying your breast, if your pump is not effectively removing milk, and that's what you're relying on, then all the supplements in the world are not going to work for you. So when you ask, should I get another pump? Let me explain, and I think it might be a good thing to show the video too of like how to use your pump properly and explain why. I made a little video. Many of you have seen it on the my 3-stage pumping method and how to effectively use a breast pump. One of the things that happens is if you don't have full customization on the controls, you may not be able to stimulate second or third letdowns. And when you describe 3 ounces all day, it may be that over time you are not emptying the breast effectively, and so it keeps on decreasing. As you start to stimulate additional letdowns, you can start building that back up with a little bit of time. The pumps you're describing, there are ways to, increase speed, decrease speed. There's letdown buttons. There's all kinds of things on different pumps have different functions. But if there's only 1 speed or 2 speeds to choose from, and that's what works for you, then that will be effective. But not all moms are the same. So if the letdown speed is set at one thing and the expression speed is set at another, and those are your only 2 choices, and that's not the one for you, it's not going to work. Yeah. It's just not going to work. And I think that might be what's happening here. So if that is the case, then yeah, you're going to need a pump that has more control, more speed options, more customization. But maybe you can work it with this. Maybe you can use the pump you have now and just follow the method that I'm going to show you in the video here, because that might help as well. But if you're going to be pumping, did she say she's back at work pumping a lot? Or she's exclusively pumping, not breastfeeding, right?
It doesn't say if she's exclusively pumping or she is pumping. Her baby will not take the breast.
Right. So it is essential if you want to continue breastfeeding your baby or even exclusively pumping, providing breast milk, you need a pump that gets the milk out. All right. So that's one thing. The other thing that could be the problem, it depends on, if you've got other underlying conditions, but it doesn't sound like that's what it was. It sounds like the milk supply decreased all of a sudden. There are other reasons for decreased milk supply, but I'm going to talk about the pump for a minute. Let me show the video. Can I show the video, Jamie?
Of course.
All right. Hold on a second.
What if I was like, no?
then I wouldn't do it. It's your show. Hold on. All right, so this is a 3-stage pumping video. Hold on. Breastfeeding moms know that pumping takes time and lots of commitment. I have a secret to share that's going to help you get a lot more milk in a lot less time. The first thing you're going to need is a pump that lets you control your speed and suction independently, putting you in control. Start with the pump turned all the way up on speed and low down on suction. This will simulate what the baby does when the baby starts off at the breast to get a milk release or a letdown. Once the milk starts coming out, what you're going to do with your dials is turn your speed down while turning your suction up enough to feel it and not feel pain. Once you see the milk stop flowing, that's when you want to stimulate that second milk release or letdown. This is where it gets good. Turn your speed all the way back up again while leaving your suction exactly where it is. Continue to pump with the speed and the suction turned up until you see the milk releasing or the letdown start one more time. After you see that happen, turn your speed back down and again repeat. You can stimulate a second, a third, even a fourth release of milk. This is how you maximize the amount that you get out and how you empty the breast as much as possible. All right, let me see if we're muted. We're not.
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yay.
So there's a simple answer of how do you do multiple letdowns. We've been talking about it for 3 years, and I'm like, okay, we need to create something that makes it easy for people to follow. So do you guys like that video? They're saying they like it. That's good.
We need hearts.
Need hearts.
It is early in the morning, and I need hearts like I need coffee. And speaking of my coffee, what we have right now is a disaster because all the coffee I brewed this morning is gone. And the last little bit of this, I was like, something tastes, it's way too sweet. Like, what is going on? All of the sugar did not dissolve. And I got a mouthful of grit, like sugar. Like,
oh, boy.
I don't even put that much sugar in my coffee. I don't know how it did dissolve. What is happening today?
It's just one of those days. Oh, yuck.
All right. So we have Brandy. Brandy has a question. Is it common to experience a lowered supply after mastitis? Will my supply return if I continue to feed every 2 to 3 hours?
So, there's no full answer to this question. In most cases, after mastitis, which is a breast infection or inflammation of the breast, boob flu, as we refer to it, right? Boob flu. In most cases, after mastitis, you'll be able to get your milk supply back with enough feeding or pumping and stimulation. But there are situations where it can dry up your milk and it could be permanent with mastitis, which is why it's so important to really try to prevent this from happening, because it can cause the milk to not produce in certain parts of the breast after you've had a severe infection. So I don't know the situation for her. I would say it's worth not giving up, to continue to pump, nurse, and even if you don't, you're still going to produce something. And to prevent the mastitis from recurring again, you want to be pumping and nursing as frequently as possible. Anyway, so the answer to whether it works or doesn't work is still the same. You still need to continue to pump frequently or nurse frequently. Try to prevent this from happening. Make sure that your latch is good. Make sure that you're not dealing with cracked or bleeding, open nipples where bacteria can enter. Make sure you're not going long stretches of time without feeding and the breasts are staying engorged. Make sure your bras are fitting you properly. Avoid underwire. Things that will cause plugged ducts and then start up that mastitis again. If you're prone to it, or you had existing issues, or you're struggling with it, you want to make sure you're taking all the precautions to prevent yourself from getting sick again.
On the topic of cracked nipples, side note,
Yes.
Every one of my speaking events, I always tell women the difference between like a lanolin-based nipple cream product versus calendula. Mm-hmm. So I think we probably need to address that, because they have no clue about the difference in what is effective versus what is not.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because years ago, the lanolin-based nipple creams, everyone just assumed that was the best stuff. And it was very rare for me to find anyone who understood and knew that, you want an organic-based cream, olive oil, other organic ingredients with calendula in it, or what calendula even was. But now, it's just great, because over the years, we have much more educated mamas out there that understand. But there's still some who you'll get samples in the hospital, something with lanolin. It's very thick. It's very sticky. It comes off of a sheep, the skin off a sheep. It's the sebaceous, gook that comes off the skin of a sheep. And it doesn't really have the healing properties in it the way calendula does. For many people, it's actually painful to put on. I remember using calendula 15 years ago when I didn't know anything, even though I was delivering babies. I didn't know what nipple cream to use. And just trying to spread that on a sore nipple, it's hard. I used to have to sit on it to warm it up just to get it to squeeze out of the tube.
Lanolin. You said calendula.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Lanolin. Calendula, what you're describing there is several different nipple creams on the market. One would be like Earth Mama, Angel Baby's Nipple Butter, or Mother Love makes a nipple cream. There's that have calendula, which is an herb. It's an herb that has tremendous healing property. And so when you put that on any kind of broken skin or raw skin, it's going to start healing it. It's an herb that heals it. And so the one thing you got is the calendula for healing. The other thing you've got is the avoidance of toxins and other nasty stuff that you're going to put your baby's mouth on, or you're putting on an open nipple. So even if it's not just the baby, but then on your own open skin, I prefer organic. There's not that many things that I say, these need to be organic. Does every piece of clothing that you buy need to be organic? If you care about the environment, that helps. Okay. But if you're thinking about your child's health, it's the stuff you cannot wash. It's the nipple creams. It's the mattresses that they sleep on. And it's the skincare and the lotions that you're rubbing all over their body that absorbs right into their skin. And so if you ask me my three things of what needs to be organic, it's those. Everything else is a bonus. Yeah. Those are a must.
People don't realize anything that goes on the baby's skin, I think it's actually, because baby skin is so thin, I think they absorb it. Is it 10 times faster than adult skin?
Oh, yeah. So the weave, yeah. The weave of a baby's skin, that means like how porous it is, right? How much do things absorb? Our skin is an organ, and our skin is an entry into the body. That's why patches work. or, when you have medication that you put on a patch, it absorbs into your body. So anything that you're putting on your body will absorb. And you should be thinking about that for yourself as well. All your cosmetics, all your creams, all your lotions, we're overloaded with chemicals anyway. I'm going to do a whole thing on this, I think. There's so much. There's so much, and it's not, and it does affect breastfeeding in the sense that it gets into your body and it gets into your baby.
I'm looking at some more questions. Here we go. Allison says, I have discovered that my thawed breast milk tastes sour, not soapy, but truly sour. Is scalding the milk before cooling and freezing the answer in this case?
It could be. It could be. I mean, there could be two reasons. The two reasons I could think of that the milk is tasting sour when defrosted. One is it could be what you're describing. The scalding she's referring to is if the milk, if she's producing a high amount of lipase, and what that does is it starts to pre-digest the milk. Breast milk was never, if you think about our bodies and through evolution, like, nature never intended for us to use these things, right?
Yeah.
Our bodies weren't designed to use pumps. Our bodies weren't designed to be, eaten from the tap, right? Like the body creates things to be fed from the breast. That being said, we live our lives, we go to work, we want to make things, easier for ourselves. And we're very grateful that we have these machines that can help us to still provide breast milk when we're not with our baby. But for some women, there is an enzyme that's in the milk that would never affect anything. In fact, it helps your baby to digest the milk once it gets into their belly, right? But it's in the milk to help digest and break down the milk. If your enzyme is high, that lipase, then when you go to freeze that milk, it starts to go to work on the milk, right? And then the milk can taste soapy, the milk can taste sour. It's actually not bad. The milk is not ruined. It's just that some babies they may reject it. They may reject the milk. Some babies will drink it with no problem. If your baby's taking the milk, don't worry about it. It's okay. The milk is fine. But if the baby's not taking the milk, one of the things you could do is what she asked about, which is, can I scald it? That means right after pumping, you scald it in a pan on the stove, and just after scalding it, then you cool it and freeze it after that, and that will help to take care of that extra lipase. If that is the reason, sour milk could also mean that the milk is bad. And so she's got to determine what is the actual issue happening here. Is she pumping with clean parts? Is everything, copacetic with the parts? Is everything washed properly? Is she storing properly? Is she waiting too long to freeze the milk? Is the milk being frozen right after, or after a few days in the refrigerator? Is she leaving it out too long? I don't want to give her an answer that it's all fine and it's just lipase, when it could be that the milk is bad.
Yeah. That would also, let's talk really quick then about storing and with actual how long can it be room temperature and out? How long can it be in the refrigerator? How long can it be in the freezer versus a deep freeze?
Yes. So, there are differing answers to this, and every time I go over it, then people go ahead and put their comments of what they see. And so it's all kind of, it depends on who you ask of that question, but I'm going to give you estimates, okay? And depending on the temperature of your freezer and depending on the room temperature of your room, this will all change, right? So when you pump fresh breast milk, the milk can sit out for 8 to 10 hours if the room temperature is nice and cool. If it's the middle of the summer, you're not going to do that, okay? If it's warm out, you got to keep in mind that the milk can't sit out very long if it's very hot in the room, all right? So we're going to be smart about that and understand that it's not a one size fits all. The point is that milk can be out for several hours, and unlike formula, unlike cow's milk, unlike other refrigerated foods, breast milk has properties in it that keep the milk safe and continue to clean itself and keep itself, it's alive. Breast milk is a living substance. There are living things in it. So it can be out for several hours. Then when you put it into the refrigerator, I usually say 5 to 7 days in the refrigerator. So that means that if you're going to pump your milk and you're going to use it that week, there's no reason to freeze it. I try to do as little to it as possible. Remember, if you freeze it, then you have to defrost it. And so there's a lot that goes on. The frozen milk is really more of a storage of milk that you're not planning to use very, soon. And, that milk, once you do put it into the freezer, it can be there for 3 to 4 months in a regular freezer. Make sure that the freezer, you're putting it in the back of the freezer, not on the door where you keep opening it, it keeps getting warmed.
Yeah.
And if you're going to add more milk, like that's not frozen, try to refrigerate it first. Don't put anything warm near it where all of a sudden it's defrosting a little bit even in the freezer.
Yeah, there's some really nice options too that hold the bags that actually allow you to circle through it in the order it's put in, which is nice.
Yeah, so that you're using the oldest milk first.
Yeah.
And it's a really good point. Always use the oldest milk first. And I also like to freeze in the bags in different quantities too, so that it's not always full bags of milk, full feedings, but a few vary it a little bit where you have like 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 4 ounce. And that way, if the baby is being fed and they need just a little bit more, they're not defrosting an entire bag of milk. That needs to, once it's defrosted, so unlike milk that's just refrigerated where it can last several days, once you defrost it, it actually needs to be used within 24 hours.
Kind of like chicken.
Yeah, I guess kind of like chicken.
You don't want to thaw that chicken out and then refreeze it.
You're right.
Use it again. Once you thaw that chicken out, you cook that chicken or else you're gonna get sick.
And so, we've done that with chicken actually, as you say, taking chicken out of the packaging and freezing it in smaller packages so you just defrost a little bit at a time.
I take my chicken out, I freeze a breast.
Right. See, that's like the breast milk.
Listen.
Chicken breast milk.
I'm single. I live alone. I don't need to waste all that food. So it's like you take out and you thaw what you need. Life. That's a real life application right there. Oh goodness. I will talk. Let me see here. I'm getting texts. So real quick, I'm getting texts from friends of mine right now who just happen to be watching. So my friend Steven, and he's going to call me out on this. Steven is a god here at Denver Center. It's who I understudy. He is a hysterical, delightful human being. And he is texting me right now. And he's like, breast milk. Your job is so weird. Breast milk is like chicken? Like what? And yes, I will be the first to admit my job is different. But wonderful too.
Breast milk, chicken, and roaches. What an episode today.
Chicken and roaches.
Who knew? We'd be going there.
Oh man. Oh stop, man.
And coffee sugar sludge.
Oh man, I'm gonna need some more real soon. But I can't. I will tell you now that I drink this coffee with the CBD oil in it. If I have regular coffee, I can tell I get sick. If I have like Starbucks, it like the regular caffeine overstimulates me and it's horrible. And then
I can't even drink regular coffee anymore. Ever since I started this, what you recommended to me, I've been drinking it too, and I've not gone back because I feel so much better.
It is a huge difference. Then it makes you question should I really be drinking coffee anyway?
Right. No, I agree with you. It's changed my life, actually.
It's amazing. So back to the breast milk.
Somebody's asking a question about replacing duckbills, and I think she's talking about phalanges.
Phalanges and probably membranes too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So, we always go over the 3 things that we that I recommend when it comes to looking for features in a breast pump. We talked about 2 of them, which was the controls and then the closed system. But the third feature that you always want to look for, and most important in a breast pump is your flanges, okay? And that's what she's referring to. Oh, duckbills are. So she's talking about these little things. All right, good. These, the little membrane. Okay, thank you. How do I not know what you were talking about? Okay, duckbills.
Flanges.
Flange. So there's flanges, and then these are called. Yeah, these are actually valves and membranes. Valves and membranes. Okay. How often you should change these is probably, and that's the little plastic piece right there. They do need to be changed out probably every 2 to 3 months, depending on how frequently you're pumping. The main thing is that you need to know that those can, if they're not changed frequently enough, or if they're not laying flat, if there's any kind of warping to them at all, you will lose suction to the pump. So those are probably the only replaceable parts when I can think of, especially on the even flow. The only real replaceable thing that you would be doing on a regular basis is this little valve and membrane, okay? And you can get those separately. Always keep some extra membranes with you if you're going back to work and you have them in your bag. Please make sure that you have them, because if you're losing suction, if the pump's not working, it's that little tiny thing is the one thing that causes your suction to work or not work. Okay. There you go.
They're like thimbles.
So yeah, I would say that every 2 to 3 months, expect that, and more frequently if you're exclusively pumping. Remember, if you're exclusively pumping, that means that you're pumping a lot more times a day than just like back at work 2-3 times a day at work, 5 days a week. You may be doing it 8-9 times a day, 7 days a week, which would mean that your membranes are getting more wear and tear, and they may need to be replaced more frequently. Okay, the pump comes with extra membranes in there, but then you can also get them. And I think one of the ladies from Evenflow can post up here where they can purchase all the extra parts, but definitely have them accessible. Let's go back to the flanges for a moment. Not every person is going to fit in the same size flange, all right? And this is where a lot of people have an issue. First of all, many moms, we talk about this every single month for years, right? We are so involved in breast pumps. We know breast pumps. It seems like a normal conversation, right? For most moms who are having their first child, this is the first time that they're involved in these breast pumping conversations. And so what seems normal to us is not normal to everyone, especially the one who needs it the most. That's the first time mom who's pumping, right? And not knowing that flanges come in different sizes, especially when you open up a pump and it only has one size in it and it says standard, then you think, okay, this must be it, right? It doesn't mean that it's it. And it's very hard to measure what size you need without trying them out. That's why Evenflow included all 3 sizes with the pump. So there are 3 sizes, and the size is the little diameter of the nipple hole. Okay, so it's not the size of your breast, it's the size of your nipple, and it's how it fits inside the flange. This comes with 3 different sizes, so you can try them out. And I think that's super important. It was one of the features that I thought was really, like, it's critical. It's literally critical, because if the pump flange doesn't fit you right, it will make it hard to get your milk out, and it will be painful. And we know that pain while pumping, it stops the letdown, it stops the milk expression, it makes it hard to get your milk out. And so having the 3 sizes included is amazing. Okay, and you may need a different size as time goes on. Maybe when you first start out, you need one size, and then a few months go by, your breasts change, you may need a different size, or maybe you need one on each side, a different size on each side. And so you have that option. And I love that it's in there, because that's the first moment that moms realize, oh, they come in different sizes. I understand that it needs to fit properly. So just having it there is the educational component that you were talking about earlier. When it comes to Evenflow, it's all about like really providing moms with what they need to do this right, And even the flange itself, I don't know if you guys can see this, it's a soft silicone insert, okay? And that's, it comes in 2 different, these come in different sizes. But I don't know if you can see, like there's like a air cushion. So when you're pumping, there's like a cushion on the breast, and that feels really different than pumping against the hard plastic. A
Yeah.
lot of moms, they'll say to me, oh, I put the pump on and I didn't think it was working good because it doesn't hurt. They get so used to using a pump that they just have to turn the suction as high up as they can and hope to rip the milk out by putting the suction up hard, and that's what tells them that the pump is working. With the pump that is comfortable, it won't hurt, and yet the milk will flow, because how milk flows is really, it's a hormonal reaction that causes milk to let down and express.
And you also need to be relaxed.
Exactly.
And if the pump hurts, you're not relaxed.
No, absolutely.
I will tell you, I always tell people the reason that this whole partnership with Evenflow and you came about with me was my sister was it with Veda? No, Grayson. With Grayson, she was still pumping, and she, through the twins and with Grayson and with Veda, she'd used almost every single pump that was out there because we get everything sent for us to actually try out.
Yeah.
And I have seen her scream using one pump. She never had a great experience, but she tried the Evenflow pump out and was like, this is the most comfortable pump I have ever used. We need to find a way to do something with them. And that's how all of this began. And we were like, game on.
Yeah, I remember that. And she was really struggling. And I remember speaking to her and she was saying, nothing has worked. Absolutely nothing. I'm like, okay, great. When you get your pump, I want to talk to you, I want to hear. And she was so excited to be able to put on a pump that was comfortable and actually get milk out. And I've heard that from, hundreds of moms now, thousands of moms every day. I actually, I work with a lot of moms using this pump, and they're just amazed at how different it actually feels for them. Can I announce, I'm also doing a giveaway on my page right now too. So there's actually 2 pumps to give away. So Jamie's got his link in here for you guys to sign up for to win one of the pumps. I've got one. Is it posted over there? Oh, Joe's going to post it. Joe's my husband. Joe's in the chat room right now posting as me. So he's going to go ahead and post a link, because I'm giving one away too as well. So you can go over and you'll get a lot. You got to tell me what you love about the pump. So now you got a full education about what you love about it. So you'll be posting that over on my page today.
We're sneaky like that.
We're sneaky.
Like, you got to pay attention to win the things. Mm-hmm. That's how I operate.
You got to take notes. You got to pick, hey, we're working hard over here, right?
You got to think about it. You have to spend an hour with us here. So let's really quick also. So a lot of women also, when I go around talking, don't understand the proper procedure to get a pump since they're covered by insurance.
Yes.
So women go directly to their insurance company, and that's not what you want to do. You want to go through a DME, which is a durable medical equipment provider.
Absolutely.
Because they act as the liaison to help you get the pump. Do not go to your insurance.
No, and that's a really good. We just finished a pumping. Well, we're almost finished with a pumping series over on my page, where we've been interviewing and talking a lot about. We've been talking with the DMEs directly on how to get pumps and the proper procedure, what kind of pumps you can get. It's very confusing for moms to understand how to use their insurance, and lots of moms don't. And I've been learning so much too about lots of moms don't know that they can even get a pump. Or they think that their insurance only covers a certain brand of pump, which is not the truth. Okay. So what you want to do is exactly like Jamie said, the first call is not to the insurance company. The first call is to one of the larger DMEs that takes most insurance. And then you can just fill out the forms. Joe, can you post a link to Evenflow Insurance, Evenflow Pump, EvenflowInsurancePump.com? Was it? Evenflow Feeding? He's got it. All right. It'll give you, thanks. It'll give you, I can talk breastfeeding. That's good. It'll give you a link to click over to any one of the 4 national DMEs that carries the Evenflow feeding pump to be able to get your pump, or at least to inquire about it. And we know that they carry it so that they will give you what you're looking for if this is the one that you're interested in. any one of these, what's great about calling them first is you've got teams of representatives over there that know breast pumps. Like they know what you're talking about. They've been trained. They understand versus your insurance company. They're not going to send you something unless your insurance covers it. I promise you. Okay. So you don't have to worry. You can go ahead and reach out to them. And the other thing that I learned about it, which I think was very interesting, was that that's my phone telling me it's fully charged. I don't know how to shut it off. Two things I learned very interesting was, one, they cover accessories. Many insurance companies will also cover breast pumping accessories like storage bags, extra bottles, these valves and membranes, things that you're paying for that you don't even realize you have the benefits. So you want to call or reach out to them and ask, does my insurance cover freezer bags? And very often it can. They'll let you know. And the other thing I learned was, say you already had your baby. Say you're watching this stream right now. You're there going, wow, I didn't even know that I could get a pump. I just went and bought one. And I hate my pump, or I want to try, the even flow feeding or a different pump. It's not too late after you've had your baby. You can still call most times up to an entire year after the baby's born to get the benefit.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So if you have like a 3-month-old right now and you're like, wow, I didn't even know I could have gotten this through my insurance. I already bought one. Maybe you just want to get an extra so you have one at home, one at work. Yeah. I would still reach out because they cover for a while after. And it's never too early to really reach out to them during the pregnancy. They'll take calls as early as like 8 weeks. Like if you want to take care of it early on, you can give them all your information. They collect everything they need, and then they just sit with everything until you're like in your 3rd trimester when your insurance allows it to be sent out, and then they'll send the pump to you. So got a lot of things going on during pregnancy. Yeah, somebody's saying, really, I should reach out. You're right, Cassie, you should reach out. Because if this is what people really don't know, and I didn't know either until I started doing these interviews with the DMEs directly. But aeroflow.com is a great place to go, and Yummy Mummy store.com. Joe posted the link, and there's a bunch of them, and you could just click right through. It'll take you right to their page where you can fill in your information, and they'll check it for you.
Also, what is nice about the even flow pump, I have a tool in my hand from a stroller. It's whatever. What people also need to realize is that this pump, if for some reason you cannot get it through your insurance, it is very affordable. Like it's at Target now. Like all of the versions of the pump, the basic pump, or if it comes with a bag, everything hovers around $100.
Yeah.
So it's great.
And there's a sale right now on Target, and I think it's only lasting a little bit longer, but there's like a big sale on Target right now. So you could, like if you're sitting there going, okay, I really want to try this pump. I have a pump, but I'm not loving it. I got it from, you can get it really affordable right now. And the pump, just the basic alone, will come with just the pump, the AC adapter to plug it in, the bottles, and 3 size flanges, both of my classes. Everything's included and super affordable. You don't even have to get it with the whole bag unless you need it. So they sell it in the basic or the deluxe. But you can go Target and get them on sale right now. One other thing that I don't think is every pump really has, and I've seen people complaining, is the fact that this takes batteries. So you see, you can put AA batteries right into this pump. What I love about it is it keeps it mobile so that if you're not near an outlet, you can still use your pump. Plus the fact that look how small it is. I mean, this can fit right inside a bag. It's very lightweight, but that doesn't give up the strength. So you're getting the strength and all the suction and everything that you need out of it, but in a really small footprint, which is nice for like if you're traveling back and forth with it, or if you're at work and you have a small space on your desk to put it on, or like me, I used to pump in the middle of the night, and being able to put it on my night table, like next to my bed, it was small. So having it small, having it be able to come out of the bag versus a big, thing, or a heavy pump, that's important.
Yeah, it's also nice and light.
It's very light. It's very, very light and compact. And then it also, they just designed, like, I'm going on and on because the features are so amazing, like really amazing when you think about the way it's designed, the fact that it takes batteries, the flanges, all that, the fact that it has bottle holders like integrated into the pump so you're not spilling your milk. There's somewhere to put them down and they're really secure so that they're not falling out. Like, you know, they're really, well,
except for a man.
Don't do that. But I mean, if you,
sure. But you also shouldn't be turning your pump upside down.
You don't want to turn them upside down, okay? But they're not going to fall if you do that. But they're not going to fall if you move it around.
Yeah. And these are also angled.
Yes.
You don't have to like hunch over and Quasimodo while you pump.
Yeah. And they know if you're pumping, you know what that means. Like when you're looking at your pump, if you don't lean forward on some of the pumps that go straight, you're getting the backflow and you're losing suction. With this, we call them, slouch free or sit back flanges, where when you sit straight up, the milk's still flowing down. You don't need to lean forward the whole time. And that's going to make a big difference. Moms love, these are like features that maybe are, second layer to like, independent speed and suction controls or closed systems, but super important. Integrated bottle holders, sit back flanges, batteries.
Yeah.
Important.
It's like you want a really good cake, but you also want really good icing on it.
It's such a good analogy. Yes.
It's the same thing. You got a really good base cake, you get good icing.
The cake fills you up. The icing makes you happy.
Look at cockroaches, raw chicken, and icing.
Joe's sitting over there shaking his head. He's just like, oh God, dude.
Yes. So we've been going an hour. So we'll do one more question, and then we'll call this a day. Then.
Okay.
Here we go. I've heard a lot about damaging your breast. Oh, Jackie. I've heard a lot about damaging your breast from pumping and having sagging breasts. Is there any method to lessen this impact? I exclusively pumped due to a C-section that made breastfeeding positions too uncomfortable. The current breast pump she has only has one dial.
Okay, so now I know what my breastfeeding myth is going to be that I'm going to post tonight. That pumping causes your breast to sag. Here's what I want to say about that. So breastfeeding, breast pumping, there's no like actual thing you're doing wrong that would cause more sagging or damage to the breast. The way that what can happen, and it usually happens during pregnancy, is that when the breast gets larger, when the glands grow, and this all happens during pregnancy, and the skin stretches and the weight of the breast pulls on the Cooper's ligaments that are in your chest that hold and suspend the breast up, okay? All of that, and not wearing a properly fit bra where the back's riding up, the front's sinking, all these things, okay? And you know what they all know what I mean, because they're going, oh yeah, my back's riding, my straps are falling down. When you're doing that, okay, it's stretching those ligaments, and especially on a heavy lactating breast where the breast is full of milk, okay, that can cause stretching. That can cause sagging of the breast. It is not the breastfeeding. It is not pumping in a particular position or with a particular pump that's going to cause it. If you are allowing your breasts to get overextended and oversupplied and overfull and not emptying, like she's describing that, she's maybe doesn't have a pump that's expressing the milk out. If I had to make any connection between the beginning of her question and then the end of her question, it would be that one, to say, well, make sure that you're using a pump that keeps the breast emptied, that you're using it frequently, that you're wearing a really supportive bra. And other than that, realize that our bodies change no matter what you do. It is just part of the process of life. It is embrace it, understand that, as we get older and as we go through things, our bodies just aren't the same. They just aren't. And yet And yet it's a wonderful reason. And yet it's a wonderful reason for it. And it will happen whether you breastfeed or not, depending on how much breast growth you have. I know many people who have chosen not to breastfeed, and yet they still have the same issues with sagging or whatever it is because of the pregnancy growth. All breast growth occurs in pregnancy, early on.
Our bodies change as we get older. I experienced this when I hit 30 and my metabolism slowed down. I also wasn't dancing as much anymore. Yep. Now I sit at my computer all day. I have dad bod and I'm not even a dad. And it's like, the actual term is this is horrible, but I am straight, skinny, and gay fat. Isn't that horrible? That's what people actually say. I'm kind of
straight, skinny, and gay fat.
Isn't that horrible?
Yeah, why? Why is that?
Because I'm not all ripped up and like muscled. That is what people actually say.
Oh.
Not to me personally, but that's what people. Horrible. It's horrible. Body shaming. It's like, get over it. Like,
yeah. You know. I think we see it everywhere. I mean, we see it everywhere. We just had this. We did an amazing show last night on postpartum depression. I want Joe to give the link because there's just so much that is happening. I'm learning more and more, and there's a new film out, and we interviewed the director and the producer of When the Bow Breaks, the new film on postpartum depression last night, and on my page, and we were talking about the idea of the internet and mommy shaming and the stigmatism and the stigma of everything, and how in some ways the internet has been wonderful for new moms. I'm glad they're saying they watched it. Awesome. Yeah, it's been wonderful for new moms because look what we're doing. Look what we did last night. Look what we're doing right now. This is how to use it in a really supportive way, right? This is how we can use social media and the internet in a really supportive way to help moms while they're stuck in their homes, and maybe we're the community that they're getting to reach out to. Otherwise, they'd be alone right now. But on the other hand, social media sets up these expectations, and we're looking at people on Instagram with their perfect bodies and their perfect little lives that aren't really true anyway. Like most of that's not even real. And then we think, boy, I don't feel that way, and I don't look that way, and I can't take, that's not how my life is, and so there must be something wrong with me. And, I think it's really important that we keep talking about what's real and the realistic part of this so that we can all accept ourselves and stop the judgment, regardless of what we do, whether, anything, really any of the judgment that occurs for moms.
I think with breastfeeding and with, baby wearing and, cloth versus disposable and car seats to an extent. It's like militant attitudes on either side of the spectrum are detrimental to actual people and education. And it's like you can put forth proper information in a digestible way. You can educate and you can be supportive without skewing to militant behavior on either side of the issue. And I think I will preach it until the day that I die. When we first met, what stuck with me with your attitude, with how you worked as an IBCLC, was your job as an IBCLC was just to tell women what to do with their milk if they chose to breastfeed or not.
Yes.
You had no judgment towards a woman, whichever route she chose to go.
No.
And it's like it's not our place as educators or whatever to have judgment in the way a person chooses to do it. It's as long as you're coming from your informed place as a parent, if you have the information, do exactly what you think is best for you and your family.
Absolutely.
That's all we can do.
Absolutely. And I'll add something to that because you said that so well, Jamie, and it is true. And I thank you. I know that is how I feel as being a midwife. It started as a midwife, feeling like it doesn't matter to me how you choose to birth, what you choose for your delivery, whether you choose to go natural, whether you have an epidural, if it's What really mattered was just that you were informed, you were educated, you got all the information to be able to make that choice, and that I helped you to learn what was normal and what was, and then you can make that choice from an informed place. The same thing comes with breastfeeding. You know, we're giving you all of this information, but when I say it, it's so that you understand the norms. It's not to tell you this is what you need to do. When you make that choice, if you decide not to breastfeed, you did it from a place of full knowledge and understanding, and then the judgment is never there. It is always about, well, this is what I choose to do. Let me help you now to wean. Let me help you now to introduce formula if you needed to or you chose to. What I don't want to do is ever have moms make decisions out of fear, or they're afraid, where they think they need to be making more milk when it's absolutely not true, when they think that they're not giving their baby enough when it's absolutely not true. So these are the things that I strive to educate, dispel the myths, and make moms more informed so they can make their own choices. It's so not my choice. I already chose what I do with my kids, and it's not always, I live with those choices. We all live with our choices, and there's no judgment. But I think it's great. What you're saying is perfect, and it does exist everywhere. Baby wearing, cloth diapering.
In every facet of parenting, there is massive judgment that just doesn't need to exist.
And that's what I was saying before. It's like, because of the internet, we get more of it because we're exposed to more opinions. This all existed already. People were doing their thing, but you just didn't know about it. Now you know about it. And it seems more common to like walk up to someone and say, we were talking about this last night. It's like, walk up to someone and say, oh, you're pregnant. Are you planning to breastfeed? Well, maybe that's none of your business.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's none of your business. Maybe just say congratulations, and or maybe you can ask a question, you can say something, but you don't have to. That right there could be just too much for somebody that they don't want your opinion.
You never know. You never know someone's situation.
You don't.
And because of their situation, they may have no desire to breastfeed whatsoever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's where it becomes militant in either direction. And I post things on my wall, and I'm educating moms about breastfeeding, and it's never about putting down someone who's not. And I always get that too. Like, I'll post something, it's just like amazing, wonderful breastfeeding information and the benefit of a breastfeeding, and then I'll always get people who are like, that's being really judgmental towards the moms who can't breastfeed. I'm like, no, it's absolutely not. I'm not judging you. I'm just giving. And if, this may not be for you.
Yeah.
This page may not be for you. That's okay. And I think it comes from just a feeling of maybe they felt judged before. And so whatever being said, they feel judged all the time.
There's one saying, and then we'll go. I'm getting too many text messages about people wanting to get lunch. But a friend of mine is very into yoga and spirituality, and her kind of motto that she even has on like coffee mugs and t-shirts is, you are enough. You are so enough. You don't even know how enough you are. Mm-hmm. That's it. You're enough.
Yeah. That's it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody go watch that interview last night. It was more than an interview. We did an entire hour on postpartum depression. And I'm just surprised at like the symptoms, and it doesn't most moms, what I learned last night is that most depression does not present as depression. It presents as anxiety and overwhelm. And so it's really important for you guys to watch this so that you can identify things and see if there's any kind of issues that are going on. You can talk to someone, and there's help. So I just wanted to leave everybody with that because super important.
Yep.
And watch the film. Jamie, you got to watch that film. It was really good.
I will. Well, thank you all for hanging out. I'm going to get my life together and go eat because all I've had is 2.5 cups of coffee. Sherry, as usual, it's a delight and a treat.
I love that we can do this and be together and be with everybody.
Yeah. Even though, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And several of you will actually see all of us in person in April in Cincinnati which is fun. That thing sold out pretty quick. Gather. And we will be doing our next Facebook Live, one of these in person.
Yay! Yay!
Which hasn't happened in so long.
It's been a long winter. I haven't seen you since the fall, so.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'll be in New York tomorrow for MommyCon.
Oh, wow. That's this weekend?
That's this weekend. Yeah, I'll be there Saturday. If you guys are going to MommyCon this Saturday, come give me a hug. Say hi.
Yeah. And then I've not made the official announcement yet, but I will also be at MommyCon Austin.
Awesome. So, I'll be there too.
Yeah. We will be there together living our best life.
We've got some really good events coming up over the next few months. We're going to be doing this live at these events and then streaming together live for the next few months coming up.
Yeah.
New York, baby show.
Yeah, we have a lot coming up. So it's good.
Yay, get to see you.
In my month of May, in which I'm never home. But it's good. Okay. Thank you all for hanging out. Heart this video, please. Watch it. And then hit the link to go enter to win a pump. And I will see everyone later.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.